It was the scariest moment of my entire life. And then he thanked me for saving him. Thank you for saving me, Mommy. So that's what happened. When Zachary was 4.5 years old, Jordan, my younger son, was 3 months old. A girlfriend and I decided to take an outing to the lake with her 2 kids, my 2 kids. I was nervous about it for many reasons, but we were heading out and we were gonna have what the picture books say is a great day. Could we really be that normal? So we're swimming, meaning flopping around in the water, jumping in the water for about 45 minutes, and then the baby needed a break. I needed a break, but Zachary did not need a break. I took the baby out, set down certain safety parameters with Zachary, and didn't take my eyes off of him. And at this lake, they're not allowed to wear any flotation supports of any kind. All of a sudden, he decided to step over a rope in the shallow area. I screamed out, "Zachary, don't step over the rope." He didn't stop. Surprisingly, the ground went out from underneath him and his body dropped, his head tilted back for air, his eyes were full of fear. I realized that he was going to go under and that I was now in a crisis situation. So like a car crash, I could hear my heartbeat and time seemed to stop. All that was going through my head were the steps that I needed to take in order to keep both of my sons safe. I unlatched the baby as I watched Zachary's head descend. I say to myself, I have to go save him. I put the 3-month-old down on the hot sand in my mind, assuming that my girlfriend was gonna go pick him up, which she did. I know that I cannot take my eyes off the spot that I last saw his beautiful face, because the water's very dark and you can't see through it, and I wouldn't know where he was if I look away for a split second. So with my eyes not moving, I ran as quickly as I could down the maybe 30 feet of beach. And with all hope and faith, reached my arms out, hoping to feel his body, and felt his body, and lifted him up out of the water. Very quickly he started to cough. That was a really good sign. And he coughed up a ton of water. I carried him onto the beach, I laid him down, he coughed, he cried, I cried. It was the scariest moment of my entire life. Afterwards I thought, no more was it an option for him to not know how to swim. That boundary had been reached. He had to learn how to swim. When we first brought him to a pool for swimming lessons, he was indeed very scared. He was aware that he was vulnerable to water, to drowning, in a way that he hadn't been exactly before. But at this point, he can jump in the deep end, go under, and swim to the edge. He can swim underwater. He loves his goggles. He loves his nose plugs. But he can swim. There are reasons why learning water safety is especially important for our kids on the spectrum. For wanderers, off wandering in the world, you can easily come across bodies of water, and you put that in combination with the deadly potential for water. They need to know, their bodies need to know how to keep their heads above water if they find themselves in a pool or a lake, period. For those who cling and are scared to learn new things, it will extend the period of time during which they're so vulnerable to drowning. He wasn't able to do that for his sensory issues, for his transition issues, for the social issues, for all of the reasons that all the challenges when facing possible swimming lessons. He wasn't able to do it up until that point, and that made him vulnerable even at 4.5. That could have stayed if we didn't give him swimming lessons on and on and on to adulthood. At some point, they need to learn how to swim. So how do we teach our kids how to swim? I just turned to my local YMCA. There I did meet an incredible instructor who had so much experience with our kids on the spectrum, and I'd like to introduce her to you. Let's go meet her. So how do these safety issues play out differently for kids on the spectrum than the typical family?
Oh, well, in my personal experience, I know that children on the spectrum, they can take off like a shot in the dark. It's something that if you deal with children on the spectrum, you're worried about constantly, especially if you have a drifter or a wanderer, because they're going to want to be free, but you want them to be safe. So there's that fine line, which is why I believe no matter who you are, water safety and swim lessons in our community is an imperative for everybody.
So working with people on the spectrum, it's in your bones.
I drank the Kool-Aid, yeah. You cannot work with a child on the spectrum and not know how special they are. Or better. You don't teach to a disability, you don't teach to a diagnosis, you teach to the individual. You start there, and then you have to build that relationship so that the individual child or the individual adult knows wherever I am, they're safe. A lot of my kids, if they're verbal and they're scared, they'll hold my thumbs, and we'll do all our motions holding my fingers so that they get the movement and the technique, but they have a connection to me. They're tethered to me wherever we go. In my classes, no matter who they are, I introduce them to the lifeguards. Did you find Ashley? Yep. Good job, you found her. Anybody with a tube, anybody with a red shirt, they're there to protect you. Today we were working a lot on his length and his distancing of his muscles so that he can get his buoyancy. Good job, buddy! I'll tap his chest if I'm trying to redirect him into something, and we use it a lot when he's on his back because he gets frustrated where he is because he doesn't know exactly what's going on. So we're working a lot on that part so that if he were to fall in or go to a deep end at a hotel pool, his parents' concern was safety, especially in deeper water, is that if he can float, he can go in any kind of water.
You did amazing! Have a hug, have a wet hug, give me a wet hug. I am so proud of you.
To just be able to float and tread water and get to a side, if that is all your child ever learns, regardless of where they are, I made that individual safe enough to help themselves.
You are just indeed a wealth of information, an expert, and there's so much we could all learn from you. And teaching our kids on the spectrum is essential, so thank you so much.
It's what we're here for.
Thank goodness there are people out there and resources to help our kids learn how to be safe near water. Whether it's your local YMCA, municipal pools, community center, check out what's available in your area. Interview people, find who has experience and comfort level with working with different types of kids. There are people out there who can help our kids be safe around water. Amazing, babe. Amazing.